would give me, so this x would have to be 13 in order for it to work. All right? Now the book will teach you to do opposites. They'll take you through a whole lot more steps. They'll say when you get to this point, you're saying 2 times some number plus 1 is equal to 27. They will say, okay, the first thing you need to do is get rid of what I call hangers-on, anything being added or subtracted from a side. So I would say, okay, if I'm adding 1 here, if I take away 1 here, that gets rid of that, right? Because that's just 0. But because it's an equality, I need to do the same thing to both sides, because if I said 25 is equal to 25, if I added 1 on this side, as long as I added 1 on this side, they're still equal, right? If I divided this one by 2 on this side, as long as I also divided this by 2, it's still equal. So that's why they say whatever you do on one side, you have to do on the other side in order to keep it equal. So I want to get rid of the 1 over here, but if I take it away over here to keep it equal, I also have to take it away over here. So now I will be left with the 2x over here equals 26, okay? Now I don't want to know what 2 times some number is. I want to know what is that number. I want to know what x is, not what 2 x's are. I just need to know what x is. So this is 2 times some. If 2 times some number, if I divide, you do the opposite, because division is the opposite of multiplication, just like addition is the opposite of subtraction. If I divide both sides by 2, 2 over 2 just leaves 1, right? So now all I have left is the x over here, and over here I have my 13. Okay. Now that's how they're going to show you to do it. What I'm saying is that for speed, when you get to this point, you can solve it without doing all that if you understand what it says. This says 2 times some number plus 1 is 27. All I need to know is what plus 1 is 27 to know what this quantity has to end up being, you see. And so I know that all of this has to equal 26 in order to add the 1 to it to get 27, right? So I need to know, okay, then what number would make this true? This says 2 times some number. So I know that 2 times some number has to give me 26. I know that number had to have been 13. Or if I didn't know it, I know that I could divide 2 into 26 to find out what that number is that I multiply, because I know that's, if I want to get 26, and I have, this tells me what times 2 gives me 26. So I know I'd have to divide the 2 into 26. But a lot of this you can do right in your head once you get to that point. Okay? Let's look at the next one. We're on page 316. Okay? Deborah, will you start reading that one?
Number 2.
Uh-huh.
The sum of 3 numbers is 30.
Okay, that's the first sentence, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what is that telling you? In your own words. If it says the sum of 3 numbers is 30, what does that mean?
It might not be right. It says 60, but if
I'm
it's
not, or
3,
whatever you said, I'm not asking for the answer. I'm asking you what that, well, 60, I thought you said 30. You did
but
say
I was
30.
doing the math too fast. I was doing it in my head.
Yeah, you were probably doing it wrong.
I probably was.
Because, okay, what does just those words mean to you? If it says the sum of 3 numbers is 60, what does that say to you?
Add it together.
All what numbers?
20.
3 different numbers.
See,
equals
you're
60.
trying to come up with an answer, and you're not answering my question.
There's 3 different
You don't know that it's 20 because it didn't say they were all the same.
So
What did those words,
Now-
just those words, what does sum mean? Just,
yeah.
just tell me what the words, don't try to read into it. The words mean, the sum means add, right?
Yeah.
So what does the sum of 3 numbers is 60 mean to you?
3 numbers that equal 60.
They added 3 numbers together and got 60. That's all you know.
Yeah.
So it's 3x.
Don't be trying to be clairvoyant. All you know is that they added
3.
3 numbers together and they got 60. You could add up a whole lot of different numbers and get 60. I could add 52, 5 and 5, right?
Yeah.
See, you don't know. It didn't say that they were all the same. And that's what happens. People try to make those, we talked about assuming
Yes, ma'am.
last week, couple days, and you see how it keeps coming up? You gotta take it just what it says.
Okay.
And that's not just in the math. I've had people to answer questions on the science and social studies, and I'm thinking, how did you come up with that answer? And they're giving me a whole story. Well, I know that when they said this and that, but that's not what the thing says. They're not expecting you for the science and social studies test. They don't expect you to come in with any specific knowledge of what they're asking about. They expect you to have some basic knowledge of science and social studies. For instance, you know what an ocean is, you know, what mountains and what the presidential office does and things like that, but not who's buried in Grant's tomb. They're not going to ask you that kind of stuff. They'll give you something to read and ask you questions about that. But people will go off and they'll say, well, you know, and then when this happened, I remember back in 1960, because it's talking about 1960, it was really cold, and so I know they're not asking you about your life. It's right there. Exactly what it says. Now, the second number is 2 more than the first.
18,
Okay?
22.
I'm not asking you for the answer. I'm asking you to be able to set it up, because this may not be the question. You have to know how to set it up for whatever it is. Because some things you will be able to guess, and that's good to have logic, because you can do a various combinations and know what it is. You know what I'm saying? But again, you have to stick as long as it matches what it says it does. Because it says the second number is what?
More than the first number.
Yep.
2 more than the first. So now we're going to have to start putting these into x's. Okay. So the thing that they don't say anything about, that's the x. They started talking about the second is 2 more than the first. So the first would have to be what?
X.
X. So number 1 is x. Number 2 says it's 2 more than the first. How would we write number 2 then?
X plus, yeah.
X plus 2, right? We're not trying to solve anything, we're just doing exactly. What does it say about the third number?
The third number is 2 more than the second.
2 more than the second, so it's the second, because that's the second, right? Plus 2 more, right?
Wow.
So now we know that when they do all of that, it's going to be 60, okay? So now we have it as x's, so now we can pull it down and say we have x plus 2 plus x plus 2
Plus 2.
plus 2, and all of that equals 60, right? So we're going to gather together the things that are alike. We have an x here, or here, and there. We have a 2 here, and there, and there. So those are our numbers and our letters. So x plus another x would give us what? 3x, right?
Plus 6
Right?
equals
Okay.
6. Plus 6.
2 plus 2 plus 2 is what?
6.
So now that simplifies it.
6B.
Okay? Follow that? Follow
You
that?
lost me, Miss Harris.
You added the x's together.
Yeah.
You had 3 of them, right?
Yep.
Then you added the whole numbers together.
Okay.
2, 4, 6.
Okay.
All I did was simplify all of this. Put the things together that are alike. I can't add an x and a 2. X plus 2 is just 2 plus x, because I don't know what x is. It's not 2x. X times 2 is 2x. It's 2x, but not x plus 2. All you can do is add the x's together. If I have an x, I give you another x, I give you another x, you got 3 x's.
Okay.
If I have 2, I give you 2 more and give you 2 more, you have 6.
Okay.
It's like you have to add the apples together and the oranges together, because they can't mix together. But now, all of that equals 60, because all I did was just do the same thing, just bring it down, okay? Now it's saying that 3 times some number, that's how you have to understand this, what it says, and that's why we took time reading expressions last week. This says 3 times some number plus 6 equals 60. I'm not reading anything into it, I'm not saying anything that you can't see yourself. I just read exactly what it says. 3 times some number plus 6 equals 60. I could ask myself, what plus 6 would give me 60? 54, right? I figured that out because I took 6 away. If I add 6 to it and I get 60, if I take 6 away, I'll get what I had before, right? So I know that all of this has got to equal 64. So that when 54, so that when I add it to 6, I get 60, right? So this says 3 times some number will give me 54. What does that number have to be?
18.
Has to be what?
18.
18, right? And I could find out by saying, if I want to know what times 3 gave me 54, I just put 3 into 54. 3 goes in there, and 3 goes in there. You don't have to guess at it. Okay, 18. This has to be 18. This x has to be 18, so that when I multiply it by 3, I get 54. When I add it to 6, I get 60. And let's see, so I'm saying that x is 18. What's that? That's the first number, right?
Now plus
Because I
2.
said I said x plus 2 is the second number, which would be what? 18 plus 2 is 20, right? Plus 2 more would give me what?
22.
And I have to see when I add 18 plus 20 plus 22, I get 60, so that is correct. And you could solve it just by changing those things to x's and figuring it.